Let me read you guys a tweet that was dated March 31st, 2021. Wanted to have a cool intro, and of course, I have to sneeze right after that, which sucks. But let me read you a tweet March 31st, 2021. And maybe you guys could tell me who wrote this. It gets a little ironic, to say the least. All right, guys. So hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, #1 commentary channel on YouTube. We are back live for another Monday afternoon podcast that we do every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and it's been going great. So we're gonna keep it going. So make sure you guys hit the thumbs up, share it with a MMA fanatic, a fellow one, and say, you know what? There's other guys like his Hawani out there, and plenty of others. But no one does it better. We do have some voicemails pending as well too. He threw the first one in the chat. Beta Quest in the chat as well too. He says I'm on Latino time. I need to do better. I need to do better, ladies and gentlemen. Let me read you guys this tweet, and maybe you guys can tell me, you know what? I know exactly who that guy is, or maybe you don't. And the tweet is as follows. All right. Just making sure everything works here. All right. The tweet reads as follows. Oh my God, your banter is as bad as your fights. This is someone talking about Ilia Topuria. Oh my God, your banter is as bad as your fights. Don't worry, mate. Maybe that gives it away. Don't worry, mate. I'll climb right above you in the rankings after about 2 fights because people actually want to see me fight. You're a nobody and will continue to be a nobody. While I get done, you will stay on the prelims while I'm on main card. If there's anybody watching in chat right now that can take a wild guess of who said that about Ilia Topuria, let me know before I reveal it. Yo, Miller, great to see you're still #1. Let's go. What's up, Richie Bennett? Welcome to the stream, man. Welcome back. How you doing today, broski? We just went live now. I just read a tweet, and I would love to see if any of you guys have any idea who was talking about Topuria March 31st of 2021. What's up, Richie? You act like someone's going to ask you to shut your chairs up. It's your live, Bato. I need to do better, bro. Of course, you're going to find a way to hate Patty. Is that who you guys? Don't let the PTSD stop you from greatness. Oh my God, your banter is as bad as your fights. Don't worry, mate. I'll climb right above you in the rankings after about 2 fights because people actually want to see me fight. You're a nobody and will continue to be a nobody. This is someone talking about Topuria. While I get done, you will stay on the prelims while I'm on the main card. Kissy face. Who's corny enough to write something like that, Beta? Well, without further ado, let's reveal it. This was back in March 31st, 2021, and that was none other than Patty. And I didn't even, I promise you, I didn't even read the comments, but I just thought to myself, I wonder what the people had to say about this. I wonder how the general public felt about Patty saying this back in 2021, and now it's revealed, right? You think they took it well? Let's see. We have throwback to this Patty 2 in response to Ilia in 2021 was a title. And Offham wrote, now Ilia is a champ and Patty hasn't broke into the top 10, crying face. He just broke in what, to the top? Did he even break into the top 15? By beating Ferguson? No. He didn't even break the top 15, let alone top 10. So don't even give him that much credit. Hold on a second, buddy. That Offham says. Let's see what else we have here. God, this fight would have been an absolute murder. Now someone is talking with wisdom. Let's be real, that's first-degree murder if they're locked in a cage together. Patty has a way better character for sure. Patty is who Ilia wants to be, but can't deny Ilia's greatness as a fighter. Bro makes Tony Ferguson look like a challenge. Oh my God.
Yo, shout out the season, man.
That might have been the most goated comment of 2024 thus far. Speaking of Patty, this guy Misha writes, let's make Patty fight. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't Misha. FB.Cook says, whoever this is, he goes, bro made Tony Ferguson look like a challenge. That's wild. The disrespect behind that comment. But listen, maybe that fight could be potential for the future. What about UFC 300 as like an undercard? It appears we got the UFC 300 card done as far as, and we'll talk about that in a bit as well too. It appears we got that done as far as we're not getting nothing else. All we're gonna get is Jamal Hill versus Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira, which to me is a lackluster main event card. Great fight, has good implications, but nonetheless not the most exciting fight in the world. But it appears that's what we're gonna get, ladies and gentlemen. But Patty couldn't finish Grandpa Tony. Ilya Finger has more talent than Patty. Patty effing sucks. It's crazy that in 2021, I remember they had a scuffle behind the scenes, and people thought that Patty was going to be next up and that Ilya just wants to fight because it's the money fight, which could potentially still be true. But at the end of the day, who's more skilled and who now currently holds the 145-pound title? As you guys can see as well, too. You see the flag behind me. I hate to say I told you so. We got some voicemails pending, and we're going to play them in a bit. And we'll also take some live callers in a bit, too. But let's maybe get to some, oh, my God. Let's maybe get to some voicemails. And don't worry, I don't think the phone number showed because those were all old voicemails. Now I'll scroll up and play. But let's play the first voicemail of After 298, and let's see what the fans had to say as far as this event and whether they recapped it. We got like about 3 to 4 voicemails, and we'll also be accepting live callers. You see the number below right here, 267-545-8096. If you want to share your thoughts on UFC 298, we'll catch it with chat, and we'll play some voicemails. Topuria would have killed Patty the Bummy. Patty the Saddy, my wife likes to call him. I don't know why she gave him the... Oh, I think she said if Patty loses, instead of Patty the Batty, they'll call him Patty the Saddy. As corny as that sounds. There's one more fight left for 300. Is there? Are you sure? Breaking news from Hollywood Hito. Coconut Head is not the champion. His rival, a.k.a. Topuria, is. This guy got the flag. Listen, I wish I had like a red, shirt, maybe like a Spaniard hat. MillerDC is back. What's up, son? What's up, son? Welcome to the stream, bro. It's great to have you. Guys, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Helps the channel immensely. Let's get to the first voicemail of the afternoon. Here we go.
What's up, MillerDC? This is the People's Champ, Chris Face speaking.
The People's Champ, who's now a moderator in the chat. So shout out to Chris
I want to shake your hand.
Thank you for becoming a member as well, too. Means the world, bro. Appreciate you. Let's get right to the voicemail.
Aftermath of UFC 298. Let's go right now. So, 2 of my predictions came true. However, the other 2 predictions didn't came true. I truly predicted that Morale was going to beat Henry Cejudo. Everybody out there got him, especially you. I ain't gonna lie.
Listen, Chris, anytime you can call me out for being wrong or for being mistaken and betting against you, if I'm wrong, call me out on it. I encourage it because it's funny and it's deserved. And when you're wrong on a fight, I'll make sure I call you out. But what I appreciate about you is when you're wrong about fights, you own up to it. You was like, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't pick him to win. You're pretty honest, unlike Trey that hides when he's wrong. But anyways.
But even though he tried to knock him out, actually he tried to submit him. But the thing is, whether you like it or not, he's the number 1 contender. No, he is the number 1 contender, no doubt.
He is the number 1 contender. I don't know if you're going to get to this in a second, but for the chat and the people watching, does Merab get, I'm not saying does he deserve, he deserves the title shot. Does Merab get the title shot next? Is my question to you guys. Because I have a funny suspicion that he's going to get Bilal Muhammad. What Bilal Muhammad means is that page, that link is not working. Send me the link again, Hito. He might get Bilal Muhammad. By that, I mean he might get skipped over. He might get skipped over, and I have a funny feeling it's going to happen. Don't be surprised when it does. You guys might disagree with me. It's okay if you do, but let's see what else Chris Faith had to say.
I don't want to hear, Jan should get next or anything. No. Jan had his
That's
turn,
what I'm getting, Hito.
No. He's fighting Sung Yadong, but that's another time to talk about. Ian Gary has won, but I don't consider him as the next.
And before we talk about Ian Gary, what if Corey Sandhagen gets a crazy knockout before Merab gets a title shot? He gets a shot next. I mean, you never know, man.
Threat to the welterweight champion. The only threat next to dethrone Leon Edwards is soon to be Shavkat Rakhmonov. The other one, Whitaker, congratulations to him. I never doubted Whitaker on that fight with Costa. I don't know who did, but congratulations to him. Him versus either Sean Strickland or Khamzat Chimaev should be the next one to talk about. And,
is that the fight you like, Khamzat versus Sean Strickland? You think so?
I'm not gonna lie. Even though I doubted Tapuria, and guess what? You told everyone that Tapuria was gonna win. Guess what? I'm not. Well, even though it is sad that the Volkanovski era is no more. However, the one thing I don't like about
He gave credit, something Trey and Heath will never do, even Beta.
Tapuria is that he called out McGregor. McGregor hasn't fought in the featherweight division since 2015, almost 10 years already. Why not fight Max Holloway or rematch with Volkanovski soon?
Well, speaking of McGregor, now that you bring him up as well too, again, there were people in my chat for quite some time that said, "Hey, he's never gonna fight again." I think it was Snipey that has said that before in the past, and maybe even Beta as well too. And people said, "You know what? You're crazy. He's gonna fight. They're just waiting on it." Just because you brought up Conor McGregor, this has been a post that was made as of recent. Check this one out.
Regard to Conor McGregor, what is the holdup with his return?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the Ultimate
By the way, I can't wait to talk about this clip. Hold on one second.
Fighter was over back in August, and I can't imagine the plan was for him to be out as long as he's been.
Well, first
Watch the deflection. Here we
problem was that he broke that shin bone. He was recovering from that.
go. Okay, that happened a long time ago, Dana, right? Am I mistaken? That happened a very long time ago, Dana.
That was one of the reasons we had it. And the other problem is he's fucking rich. Conor
There's the somewhat truth. Because he's rich.
McGregor doesn't need money.
So are we at a point here where Conor McGregor may never fight for the UFC? Can you say that?
If you
Maybe they just can't give him the money that he wants, deserves. They can't get him to sign on the dotted line because he actually doesn't need the money as badly as maybe other fighters do.
had shitloads of money, would you be sitting here right now asking me this fucking question?
He's bothered. I wonder why Dana White is bothered by the question, hey, when's Conor fighting? Maybe because he's been asked that a million times. That would be understandable. But maybe Dana being a little bit misleading.
No, you would not. That just answered your question.
Well, I answered no. So you're saying there's a chance that Conor McGregor will not fight again for the UFC?
I don't know. Conor McGregor's got a lot of money. And, anytime we get Conor, we'll be happy to, be thrilled when he comes and fights. But
the weird thing about this comment, too, is that Conor has been saying repeatedly that they won't give him a fight. So it's not like Conor saying, oh, I don't feel like fighting because I have a lot of money, or I don't feel like fighting because, X, Y, Z. He has seemed interested in fighting. So at this point, I could be wrong, but you guys hear me out. At this point, I'm starting to believe that it's more the UFC's fault that Conor McGregor is not fighting instead of Conor McGregor. Because he has wanted to fight. Maybe they are trying to give him matchups that he doesn't want. Maybe they're not giving him the money that he wants when he probably knows they could afford it. At this point, I'm starting to believe, listen, Conor has been ready to go for quite some time. Yeah, he has had a movie, but he has been wanting to get back in the octagon. He has been complaining outside of the octagon. Now, when Dana White says, the problem is that Conor McGregor is rich, that sounds a little weird. It sounds like maybe they can't get negotiations done, in my opinion.
Money complicates a lot of things. He just filmed a movie. He's got to do the...
Money complicates a lot of things. So is it he's not getting the money that he wants, the sponsorships? Maybe they don't want to put proper 12 up there. Like, what is it? Because if you're just simply saying, the reason why we're not making this fight is because he's rich, sounds a little weird, doesn't it?
The press for the movie, and he's got obligations with that, and he does want to fight this year, but we'll see what happens.
So I don't know. That sounded a little weird, but it was interesting you brought that up, Chris. But I just figured I'd play that clip where Conor might never fight again. The way it's looking, it's been delayed year after year after year. And the last time we saw him in the octagon was years ago, literally. And I feel bad for Michael Chandler because he has been waiting for forever. Last time we saw Conor McGregor in the octagon was July 10th, 2021. And the sad thing about this, just to add on to that, is that Michael Chandler has been waiting forever as well, too. The last time he was in the octagon was November 12th, 2022. And the reason why he's been on the shelf is because he said, he's basically waiting for Red Panty Night, that being Conor McGregor. But now he's letting the best years of his life, or even the last tail end couple of years, he's been waiting for Conor, and that might potentially never happen. So at this point, he should be maybe back up for Oliveira versus Aryukin, or maybe get some other massive fight. But right now, it's not. To me, right now, it's not looking possible, or likely at least. Of course, he gets a title shot. He's more entertaining than Bilal. Remember the racist Muhammad. I haven't heard Connor say that, or not Connor, I'm sorry, Kobe say that for quite some time. I forgot he was calling him a racist. I'll put that article on the stream in a second. Thank you for becoming a member again as well, too, Zelme. It's truly, truly appreciated. You could become a member today. Click the link. It helps the channel out immensely. 4-1 on the card. Could have been 5-0 if Paulo wasn't robbed. He got dominated. He almost, bro, if he had like 23 more seconds, 12 more seconds in that first round, Paulo potentially ends it. I don't know. He might be able to talk his way into the fight. Sandhagen doesn't move the needle. That's true. The lucky thing for Merab is that there's no one else really that you could jump ahead of him. I'll say that. Where I mean, no one else that's glaring, that's popular, that's that you say, you know what? I'm so excited to see him fight Sean O'Malley. There's nobody in the bantamweight division. If you match up Ilia Topuria versus Sean O'Malley, and that's something we could talk about later, perhaps. But besides that, there's no clear, exciting contender besides a Merab. So that's lucky for him. As far as the welterweight division, Bilal doesn't have that same luxury. If it's not Bilal, I don't think people will be that mad because there's a Shavkat Rakhmonov that people are excited to see. There's a Sean Brady. There's a Stephen Thompson climbing up the ranks. There's a Ian Gary. There's more exciting fighters in the welterweight division than in the bantamweight division, and I think that's where Merab is a little bit lucky. Mike Dornan in the building. What's up, Mike? Sorry that I'm a little late. Welcome to the stream, bro. All the members, man, I appreciate you guys a ton. You guys are keeping the stream alive and helping the channel grow, so thank you. Let me call in. You know what? Call in right now as we speak. If you hear me out there, Hito, call in before I play the next voicemails because we got a few. So call in right now unless you want to just join in Discord, and I could join in there. But we'll be waiting for your call. You got about 23 seconds. Chandler versus Connor, MSG November. Think it happens? You think Dana White is misleading us? Beta says, hey, I picked with my heart and always admit when a fight was legitimately won. I don't know about that. You wouldn't admit that Drake is beat Sean Strickland. I'm just throwing that out there. You would fight your way of your contract if you would fight your way of your contract if you were Conor. They probably want him to sign another with added fights, and he probably doesn't want to do it. You see the same thing happen with Nate Diaz. Don't want another Ngannou incident, maybe? Exactly. They might say, hey, we'll give you Chandler, but you got to sign to a 3-fight deal. And he's probably like, no, I want to fight maybe in the BKFC or somewhere else. We have another caller, though.
Call from
Hollywood Hito.
Here we go. Welcome to the stream, Hollywood Hito.
Yes, sir. What's up?
Oh, nothing. Just basking in my glory of how Topuria won exactly how I said he would. How about you, man?
I'm still more right than you this year than you are to me. I have a higher percentage, so that doesn't feel good, does it?
I mean, nobody really cares about the regular season. You know what I mean? Like I won the chip with Topuria. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever you want to say to make yourself feel better. You're just letting this casual over here be more right than you.
You were right about majority of the fights. I mean, you picked Merab, you
right.
picked Ian Gary.
Let's talk about this real quick. I wasn't even just right about that. I was right about Merab not being a boring fight. That was you were wrong on the polls. I was also about Merab getting the title shot next. Dana confirmed that. You were wrong on that, and the polls agreed with me. He should get the title fight next. And his popularity is increasing. Now, we went over his Instagram numbers just the other day, and you yourself was like, man, that's a big jump. So you're wrong about the whole Merab situation.
You know what's sad about everything you just said is that, and I know in your mind you believe you're being truthful in everything you said. You know you were wrong about everything you just said.
Incorrect. What do you mean?
Merab, that wasn't an exciting fight. He's still a boring fighter. And this is a small detail that the more you watch MMA, the more you'll learn, Hito. When it comes to the UFC, just because Dana White said, yeah, he's going to get the title shot next, that doesn't mean he's going to get the title shot next. If there's a better opportunity or something jumps up, he's going to get skipped over. Dana has done this before, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again.
Okay, so then what I would push back with that is, so then we're just at an opinion standpoint. So then whose opinion is more favored? And according to the polls of your live stream, which have more viewers than a regular stream, I was right. So it was 83% was one, and the other one was 66. I have the screenshot, so calm it down.
I mean, listen, you were right that Merab was going to win. So was I in my initial pick. I let my heart lead me a little bit. Henry Cejudo got tired. He's 37 years old. You know, I mean, if it was a prime Henry Cejudo, he would have dusted Merab, but he was a little bit over the hill. I, forgot that a little bit, and that's about it. But you went, what, 3-2 I went 2-3. That's not that bad. It was pretty close.
I'm still better. Okay, so let's talk about and you can bring up the article too. There is still one more fight to make for UFC 300, and I'm curious of what that's going to be. Is it a prelim? Is it a main card? Because they have Aljamain and Cater on the main card, but they originally had them in the prelim, and I could see them slotting that down if you get one more big fight.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to potential fights, I'm opening the article live on stream as we're talking, and the current.
It's more towards the bottom.
Yep. I just scrolled down there. We have Pereira versus Hill, Zhang versus Yan, Holloway versus Gaethje, Saryukin versus Charles Oliveira, Hiri Prohaska versus Rakic, and then the fight you just mentioned, Sterling versus Cater. If they were to move that fight down, what fight you think they would bring up?
I mean, that's it. I mean, that's interesting. Does Topuria make it back in time to him? Do you feel like he took much damage? You could try to squeeze Topuria in there, or you're going to save him for Spain. So if you save him for Spain, I mean, you don't have no Khamzat, but there's still Patty. You can throw Patty in there.
Patty versus Moicano is not bad.
It's not a main event, so you already got your main event. So we already got it the way it's going to be Hill and Pereira. So I mean, you could throw a Patty Moicano, but I mean, there's some options. There's some good fights you can throw in there. There's no Khamzat, but Leon's been called multiple times, even though he might not headline, but they could try to squeeze him in there.
Versus who though?
That's a good question. Him and Bilal, just get it out the way. Get it out the way, man.
I mean, do you think people will be excited about that?
You're adding it in as a filler, man. Like, people think, even you think the card is done. But, I mean, me, my casual self, that, I'm just a casual, showed you an article because I remember Dana White saying this. They have 2 fights in there, and that's in the main event. There was one more left. So me, my casual self, pulled up the article for you. There's one more to throw in. Why not just get Bilal and Leon out the way? You add it to the card. Whatever, it doesn't hurt it because you think it's done, and just kind of adds a little filler fight. But nobody wants to see that as a main event for a pay-per-view. Why don't you just get out the way during 300?
I do think there's something to, as well as you said, bringing in Leon and Bilal. I do think there's something to adding another title fight as well too, for the prestige of UFC 300. You know what I mean? Where if you add Patty versus Moicano, yeah, it's cool, but it's if you add any other stars, it might not be the best. But if you add another title fight, now you have 3 title fights on the card, and maybe that elevates it a little bit. So you might have a point there.
Or finally, is he in DDP?
Do you think they're shelving that for Africa, or if it were Dricus, who would you put Dricus against?
It sounds like Spain is more guaranteed than Africa right now.
They haven't really brought that up as of recent. Maybe you add Dricus versus, I don't think you do Adesanya because you hold that for a bit. So what middleweight fighter will you throw in there in order to make it exciting? I mean, let me look at it. Listen, Dricus versus Khamzat will be crazy, but he doesn't want to fight during Ramadan, so I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, no. So Khamzat's out, but who else is in that division? Let's go look at it right quick. You got Whitaker, but
Whitaker, yeah, and he lost already against Dricus. Vittori Cannonier, Costa, that's a weird one, but he just lost as well too. So no, if he got a win, I think
Costa's leg got murdered. If you want to be honest with you, I don't think Costa's gonna be ready for that.
There's really no one else.
Izzy,
they could do Izzy and then just say, let's chalk the Africa card, at least for now. And they could still do Izzy versus someone else, Dricus versus someone else in the future for Africa if they don't fight each other. But I don't know. I feel like that would be dropping the ball on a massive Africa card, Dricus versus Adesanya. So,
unless Dana White knows it's not going to be able to happen this year. We have no venues for Africa. Let's just get Izzy and this guy out the way. You don't sell it for years.
That's fair.
But look at it here. I'm looking at the rest of these divisions. I'm not seeing anything that's really going to stand out to add. I mean, you already got Royval and Moreno happening this weekend.
So did Dana fail? Did he drop the ball? Is there still time? How do you feel about it overall?
Yes, Dana failed because I know he was trying for something else.
Right.
And if you mean to tell me Leon and Khamzat was the big splash and you couldn't make that happen, then you really failed because you were just not in the right direction. you weren't even in the same ballpark. So Hill and Pereira, hey, look at that dryer going. I wonder what year that was made.
I muted it for a second. Yeah, you're good. I'm listening.
Okay, so Hill and Pereira could have happened, and trust me, they got the call the night before 298.
Yeah, you saw Jamal Hill say that. Mm-hmm.
So they weren't even working on that whole time. That could have happened like that. And if it was Leon and Kamzat, and Kamzat said, "Hey, I can't do it during Ramadan," then that really wasn't the wave. Who else do you throw at Leon? I don't know. Like, I think they were trying to get Conor to happen. And also, you got to remember too, Dana made it a point that he wanted to see Conor in a full camp before he gets him signed up for any fight. And you have some light sparring sessions, but I don't think Conor was in a full camp. And I think that's a real reason why Dana isn't pulling the trigger on Conor, because he doesn't think Conor's taking it serious just yet.
You also seen as well too that John Jones has said that they were trying to add him to UFC 300. So that adds to your point that I think they've been trying over and over again to add fights, and it hasn't happened. Rick Grimes, welcome to the stream. Mike Dorn and Beta Quest. So I agree with you. I think it's one of those things that they keep trying to make fights, and they just couldn't find any massive ones. And maybe they add one more. I have no idea what direction they'll go, but as of right now, it's somewhat of a failure.
I agree. Yeah, so I think I think it's time just to pull the trigger on the Leon and Bilal. They know that won't sell anywhere else. So just stack the card in your mind. Dana will try to sell it. We got one more banger for you, but it's another championship fight. Bilal gets his shot, and then we're through with that saga. You know what I mean? It's gonna be over. One of those guys we'll just never have to hear from again.
Look at you. I think that's a good suggestion. You add Leon versus Bilal because, they won't sell as a main event anywhere else, or it won't be that serious. That's a good one.
Yeah. So those are my takes on that.
I'm genuinely surprised.
And just I love how your shorts lined up too, by the way, where your one short was like, oh, it's either going to happen first, second, or third round, and then you have your reaction short where it's like, I told you guys, first or second round.
You had to talk about that, huh? You just couldn't help yourself.
It's insane. You were so hyped up, and then you had your little bandwagon Drew come in. He called it. Well, no, he didn't. Miles said 4th, 5th, overtime. What are we doing here? I added
the word third by mistake. I knew it would happen in the first or second. I'm just glad it happened. Ilya's your and new. I know you're this whole thing about Volk being the face. Do you want to say anything about that anymore, or is that over?
I thought. So originally I said Volk was not the face. I thought the way Volk came out in the press conference and the run and how he shot Topuria down. You got to remember that Topuria was bad. He was getting booed, and a lot of people were dogging him online. So he had the chance, if he won that fight, to actually kind of start being a little bit of a face, especially if he turned around and came back to 300. No, hands down, he would have been the face. He just didn't win. And Topuria, although he didn't do well in the press conference, the lead up to it and what he was doing sets him out to be like now almost like the new star, not face just yet, but a very big star in the UFC. You know what's going to kill Topuria is his lack of competition in that division. He's already fought some of the names coming up. And I think after he gets this Merab fight, if he can win, then that's great, because those two guys are really heavy right now, and you got a lot of people talking. And if not, him and O'Malley would be like the next step. There's nobody else in that division that nobody wants to see him fight. Maybe Yair Rodriguez in Spain, but that's not going to make him the face if he's Yair in Spain. That's just going to make him cool in Spain. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I think Merab will be next. It'll be great for him. It's good for the resume, and we get that Sean O'Malley fight happening. I will say one thing. O'Malley was terrified of Volkanovski. He never wanted to fight Volkanovski. He wanted Topuria to win.
Absolutely. Yep, he has mentioned it before, but now after that performance, I don't know if he still feels the same. Let me quickly say one thing before we wrap up the call. Let's just have to zoom in on this because it's that dramatic. You heard Hito saying earlier, like, Ilya's gonna struggle with the lack of competition in the division. Let's just quickly applaud Hito and how far he's come. All the things we've taught him about MMA. He never talked this eloquently or just rational when it comes to the UFC. But back then, I don't even know if he knew who Derek Lewis was. So just a round of applause for For Hollywood Heat, though. I mean, we live in a different era. Any last thoughts, Hollywood?
Casual Hito is out. That's all I gotta say. You guys have a good one.
You too, man. Wow. Listen, good. Listen, I'm genuinely bamboozled, baffled of Hollywood Hito making sense in chat. We got another voicemail. We got 2 more from Chris. I think we got one from Beta here. Let's see what Beta had to say. All the way from Alabama in his country boots and in his Wrangler jeans. Let's see what he had to say.
It's Beta. Look, I know I called in after the fight, but I just want to reiterate that Jeff Neal was robbed. How do you get a 30-20?
Jeff Neal was right. I don't know about that one, Beta. Jeff Neal could have done more. It was a competitive fight, maybe 29-28 Ian Gary, but robbed is a heavy word to use.
7 out of any of that fight where one guy didn't stand still and the other guy put him against the cage. You can.
That's one thing. Ian Gary was doing a lot of running. I wouldn't call it running, and I would say he was picking his shots well. If he was throwing a lot, I would love to see the punch stats on that fight. But Ian Gary didn't let his hands go much either. A lot of lateral movement. Didn't want Jeff Neal to set his feet, of course. But it's not like Ian Gary was capitalizing.
Argue about, the significance of strike and,
Let me catch up with chat, by the way, before we get to the rest of the voicemail as well, too. Mike Dorn says, I'd like to know the 3 fighters offered to Edwards. Bilal wasn't one of them, obviously. Yeah, I'm assuming it was Hamza, and I don't really know who else would have been offered to Leon. Maybe that's something we could brainstorm a little bit, too. That's a good point. Who could it have been? Obviously, massive fail from Dana, the disrespect plugs. Not even make Leon versus Bilal a fight night in London. That's wild. Plugs is wild. Now I think that 300 card is done. They're supposed to be adding one more fight, Mike Dorton. You do Leon versus Bilal, get it out the way so Leon can fight Masvidal in the O2 arena. What if they offered him Masvidal? Listen, I wouldn't be mad at a Masvidal fight. I'm just throwing it out there. Wait, did Hito just admit that I was right about Volk? Interesting. Say it louder while he's on the phone, Miller. I missed it. I'm sorry. What you mean, Beta? Let me go back to the voicemail.
Not being able to control the cage by cutting him off. What we really need to talk about is how certain Joe Rogan was of Ian Gary's win, and also just why he felt the need to spit on it and work both arms so well while he absolutely glazed that man in his commentary. It's crazy.
It was tough to watch Joe Rogan overly compliment Ian Gary for everything he did. I don't think he said one good thing about Jeff Neal. Whenever Jeff Neal would land, whenever he would get in the clinch, he would complain about that as well too. He just had nothing good to say about Neal, in my opinion.
It's crazy that one could get away with just an atrocious amount of glazing in a commentary section.
It was bad. It was really bad, Beta. I'll agree.
Of a fight. It's almost as if bias means absolutely nothing to Joe Rogan, and he should probably just get out because he has too strong of a connection with these fighters. I don't know. Maybe I'm just speaking out of my ass. But, I've never seen somebody get arm cramped glazing someone while commentating for that. I just wanted to put that out there. I was right about Taporia, but I was wrong about Cejudo. And, you win some, you lose some.
Wow. What a beautiful community we're creating, guys, where people could be honest. See, he said he was right about Taporia, wrong about Cejudo. I'm in the same boat. I had Cejudo winning as well, too. We'll talk about that fight in a bit, but I agree. We were right about Taporia. It was just that power difference was significant. Volkanovski coming off the loss. Volkanovski not being in the best mental state prior to the fight. There were just too many warning signs for me, in my opinion, to go with Volkanovski. And you add to that, he's 35 plus. When a fighter's 35 plus, when they're trying to defend the title, things just usually don't go well for them. And I just felt that his time was up, and I thought that it will be proven this Saturday at UFC 298, and it was. So thank you for the call, Beta Quest. Appreciate the knowledge. We were wrong about Cejudo. We got 2 more voicemails, and we'll talk about these fights in a bit. So we'll talk about Cejudo, we'll talk about Merab, and we'll talk about Taporia. Let's get to the next voicemail. Here we go.
I do respect the fact that he made history becoming the first Spaniard/Georgian UFC champion. The first. In the years that have already passed, there has.
And I think he gained like another 300 or 600 followers on Instagram. I forget exactly what it was. Something along those lines.
There's been no one from the UFC, no one from Spain entering the UFC, winning the champion. He's the first one, especially from either from Georgia or Spain, whichever. He's the first one. But let's talk about the announcement that was broken. Actually, that the news broke recently about UFC 300, which is Pereira versus Hill. Not everyone is liking about it. I'm not gonna lie. I prefer John Jones to fight either Stipe or Tom Aspinall, but that idiot fumbled the bag for UFC 300. No, he fumbled the bag for UFC 300. The same thing goes to Conor McGregor.
And John Jones was offered a fight. He said himself that he was offered a fight for UFC 300, and he just wasn't going to be able to get ready in time. So I agree.
Because since McGregor, they said, oh, he's
right out. We have 30 seconds left of this voicemail, and then we're going to add you to it. Thank you for letting me know, Joe. Let's go.
No. He's already recovered from his surgery back in the aftermath of the Dustin trilogy fight. That's over. He's already recovered. Both McGregor and Jones fumbled the bag for UFC 300. They fumbled the bag, both of those assholes. And also, another thing, I can acknowledge that the veteran curse is real. Even though Volkanovski is still 35 and he lost badly to Islam and to Poirier. But let me tell everybody something I just posted recently on the Discord thing. What will be the reaction when someone who is about to be 37 years old, past already 35, a.k.a. John Jones, what will be the reaction till everybody knows that he will fall?
I think he would fold against Tom Aspinall. I think he's genuinely a little bit worried about that fight as well, too. I've been saying that for quite some time. So interesting that you bring that up. Chris, give me 1 second. And we got one more voicemail. We'll get to it in a second, Chris. But we have Joe on the line, so let's add him here. Joe in the building. Welcome to the stream.
Hello.
What's cracking?
Oh, hold on. Whoa. Hold on a second. I'm driving. I almost hit some chickens. That's crazy. Oh, my gosh. All right, so UFC 298.
Let's talk about it.
I want to give props to your boy, Robert Whitaker.
Right.
He looked good.
Right.
I think that I watched the fight with Trey. I watched the card with
that.
Drew.
Sorry to hear that.
I watched the fight with Trey and Drew, and Robert Whitaker looked good. I want to talk about Paulo Costa a little bit. Okay. Paulo Costa, to me, I think if he gets the right coach, it's funny. There was a meme on Twitter that said, I don't know if you remember when Chris Weidman lost and his father came in and said, "That's still my boy." You remember that? Okay, so that's how we all feel about Paulo Costa still. I'm still like that. I think if he gets the right coach, I think if he gets the right camp, I believe he can be a UFC champ. I don't understand why he wasn't throwing anything. Do you understand what I was saying? Like what I'm saying? He wasn't throwing.
Why do you think that is?
I know he was getting countered, but make the read. Hey, Robert Whitaker was countering his jab with a 1-2. He did it like 10 times. I don't understand why his coach didn't tell him to make the read or why he didn't make the read. I don't know. But Robert Whitaker, props him, veteran, great. I love Paulo Costa, so that's still my boy. Okay, number two.
But before you move on from that fight, I thought the same thing as well too, Joe, where I was like, if Paulo Costa wants to be the hammer as far as like be a little bit more aggressive, yes, he's getting caught. But if you notice in that fight, he could get caught 2-3 times and land his own one, and it will be more significant than anything Whitaker would do. So I didn't understand either why not at that point trade and go for broke. His face wasn't hurt at all. He was getting hit with little shots here and there, but to me it didn't seem they were affecting him. Besides the leg kicks, those were affecting him. But at that point, I thought he should have went for broke a little bit. Was that his coach's fault? Something they missed? If you could elaborate on that a bit more.
I don't know. I just don't know why his strategy didn't change. Like he didn't. The first round, I guess his strategy was what to catch him with a big shot and throw only 5 punches per round or something. He only threw good combos when he knew he had Robert hurt. was at the end of the first round. He had him hurt. That's the only time in the whole fight that he was like pressing him and throwing combos. I don't know why he wasn't throwing combos like that the whole fight. Me, Trey, and Drew were all saying the same thing. Like, I don't understand the game plan here. So I think that the skill set is there. We all see his power. He's got a good chin. He's got good kicks, man. He's got fast kicks, high, low. He can take a punch. I think with the right coaching, I can see a good, nice little comeback for him. He's still relatively young. He's 14-3 now. So I mean, he's lost his last. No, he only lost. This is his first loss since that
Since
Marvin
Adesanya.
Vettori fight.
And yeah, those are his last 3, I think. Adesanya,
Right, his
Vettori, and then this one.
And then no, Luke Rockhold. He won his last fight, which was against Luke Rockhold.
Yeah,
anyway.
right.
But anyway, yeah, I agree with you. I just don't. I think it was coaching, and also as a fighter, you just have to make the read. Even I was watching the fight, and I was like, every time he throws this lazy jab or whatever, Whitaker is countering that. So throw something else. He countered it like 10 times. In that second or third round, he countered that jab, that lazy jab. Like, he's lucky he didn't get knocked out.
No,
because
I agree.
Whitaker was
man.
landing a clean 1-2.
Whitaker was landing
yeah,
clean, but he never hurt him. Where I'm like, there was some missed opportunities. But on the bright side, I will say, I think there's upside for Paulo Costa, even this late in his career, because he did better than I imagined. He hurt Whitaker. Whitaker's one of the top middleweights in the world, probably second or third best. So for Costa to hang in there, Costa has a problem not checking leg kicks, and maybe that's something he needs to work on. That's why he lost out to Adesanya. But I was impressed with how Costa looked after all this time off.
Well, I thought Costa was gonna knock him out. Honestly, I was like, I watched his last fights, and this is what I did before 298. I watched I just said, you know what, I'm gonna sit in the shower here, like I normally do. I know Trey gets on me for that, but sometimes sit in the shower for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I just, that's my time to reflect on life, to think about, what my goal. No, I don't pay for my water. That's another story. But anyway, so I just watched every single fighter on this card, and I was like, man, if Paulo Costa gets in there, I think he could easily knock Whitaker out. And he was a heavy underdog too, and I was like, this might be one of the best snipes of the night.
Yeah, one of the best underdog picks. Yep, absolutely.
Yes, but one of the best underdog picks. But anyway, I want to talk about Ilia Topuria, because going into the fight,
let's talk about it.
I had Volkanovski. I said, you know what? Before watching a couple fights, I said, Volk is going to go in there, and I was just thinking, there's levels to this. He's going to out-wrestle him. Yeah, Ilia has the advantage on the feet. Whatever. That'll be that. He wrestled with Islam. There's no way Ilia can touch him if he's wrestling. Then
I tried to get you on the right side of history.
Let me just watch Ilia's last 3. You did. No, you did. And so what I did was I watched Ilia's last 3 or 4 fights. And when I watched his last 3 or 4 fights, and then I had watched Volk's last 3 or 4 fights, I was more like, dang, this is a 50-50. And I changed from being so confident in the week. So when I was watching, before that fight, I was telling Trey and Drew, yo, I do still think that Volk is going to edge him out with the wrestling, but no, after watching the fights, I think that if Volk's not careful, he can get knocked out. So I was more 50-50 going into right before the fight was starting. So, but I didn't see him getting knocked out that bad. I mean,
right.
That was bad.
Was that worse than the Islam Makhachev knockout?
That was bad. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was worse, because the Islam didn't he get hit with the head kick, and he didn't go right down immediately, right? Didn't he like stumble, or did he go down right down immediately like Kamaru Usman? It was that bad, like Kamaru Usman won?
No, he didn't get knocked out cold. He didn't go limp like he did against Topuria. He when that right hook landed on the chin, he melted. It was over. So I agree. I think the last knockout, the most recent one against Volkanovski, was worse. If you hear me out there. Yo. Joe, I see you're still in the call, but we don't hear you if you're saying anything. But Joe with the call today as well too. We're waiting. Let's see if he figures it out on his side. But it's all on video. Let me catch up with Chad in the meantime. Joe, whenever you could get back on or figure it out, we're waiting for you because you were making some decent points for once in your life. Chilling at work. Yo, Torin, how you feel about Marab? I think Costa was worried about that leg and to set the jab, you have to set your foot in the worst possible way for getting leg kicked into oblivion. He just doesn't check leg kicks and he waits until it's too late, and that's kind of what happened. Also, it could be another factor could be too is he didn't have it in the gas tank or his conditioning in order to push it more. But anytime he landed, it was more significant than when Whitaker landed, in my opinion. Great backpedal, saved face, and made a great point behind. I liked how you did that, Hito. Before I was saying Volk wasn't a face, maybe I was. I never said he was a face. I said he had the best potential. I even argued with Trey that there wasn't a star. It's all on video. I'll pull it up later. There still isn't a face. I mean, Topuria might be the best candidate. Let me see if I hop out of there. Okay, I was gonna hop back in. Let me see. Yo, George. Joe.
Yo.
Okay, now I hear you. I don't know what happened earlier.
I was. Yeah.
We were talking to Poria and Volkanovski and whether the knockout was worse. Yo.
Yeah, I didn't think the head kick. Yeah, you hear me?
Now I do.
I was saying I didn't think the head kick was as bad as the Leon Edwards one. It wasn't that bad.
No, not even close.
Right?
No, you're right.
Yeah,
I think the Ilya.
Yeah, so I thought this
worse.
knockout was. Yeah, way worse. I thought it was way worse. I just didn't see him getting knocked out clean like that. I just did not. I saw the Josh Emmett fight, and I was like, no way Josh Emmett can take these punches and Volk can't. I couldn't even believe that.
Yeah,
I really could not believe that, honestly. So that was shocking to me. But you had a poll in there. Is Ilya the face of the UFC? 1,000%. 1,000%.
Well, interesting about that is that
he's on a new level.
The votes are 67% for no. What do you say to the people that say that he isn't the face?
Absolutely not. He just went in there and killed the best UFC featherweight of all time. And you can say, okay, maybe he's on the downhill, maybe a little bit. But I think even if you take the Volk who fought Korean Zombie, which I think was probably his best fight ever, in my opinion. That was probably his best fight ever. And I think that if you put Ilya in there, then he still finishes him. So, no, he's the best. He's the best. This is like when Conor McGregor came in and took the belt from Aldo. Like, just a different level of fighter. This is just a different level of fighter. In my opinion, Ilya Topuria is the quintessential archetype of the MMA athlete, like the perfect example of what the peak MMA fighter can be. Great on the ground, great wrestling, great hands. I mean, and not only great, but like I'm talking about the best. Like he has. This is what when people were envisioning MMA, mixed martial arts. This is the type of fighter that we have been envisioning. Conor McGregor was almost there. He just didn't have the wrestling. He just didn't have the jiu-jitsu. But he had the kicks and he had the punches. He had everything stand-up wise, from taekwondo to karate to boxing. He had it. This guy Topuria has everything. I mean, everything is like a level 9 or a 10. So this is just we have never seen anything like this, in my opinion. Ever.
It's funny you compare him to Conor with the whole remember Conor versus Aldo, where Ilya has been saying he's gonna knock out Volkanovski earlier. He said first round happened in the second. Nonetheless, it happened. And an interesting point that you also bring up too is that how well-rounded he is and how he's the future. One part where he might struggle, where maybe Conor didn't have the same struggle, is opponents, man. Conor had Holloway, Khabib, Chad Mendes, Eddie Alvarez. He had so many names, Dustin Poirier, Nate Diaz. There were so many dancing partners that were good for potential big fights. I think the problem that Ilya might have is that who in the featherweight division right now is a clear contender that's exciting? I don't think there's anyone out there. Yeah.
Nobody. I was telling Drew and Trey, I said, as soon as he knocked him out, first of all, I picked my chin up off the ground after he knocked him out.
Right.
And then I turned and I said, he needs to fight Islam next. And he just needs to go up for 155 because he can. What I saw that night, if he can do that, if that fighter comes in against Islam Makhachev, how is Islam winning that fight?
That might be too big of a push. Islam is just massive.
Think?
Yeah, Islam is massive for 155. It's gonna. I think it'll essentially become a striking match because I think both of them will nullify takedowns. But I don't know, man. Then again,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, because like you just said, there's no one at 145 that's gonna beat him. I do not. I love Max Holloway. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. I do not want to see Ilia Topuria retire Max Holloway. I don't want to see that. That's just gonna be ugly. And he's gonna beat everybody. There's no one in there that's gonna beat him. I'm sorry, there's not.
In the featherweight division, in the featherweight division, or somebody come up like a Sean O'Malley. What do you think about that?
Sean O'Malley? Oh gosh, no way.
On paper, that's a big. If he beats Chito Vera unscathed, and they could rush that fight for 300 or for the future in Spain, I think Sean O'Malley might be the number one option for Ilia.
Yeah, I agree with you. He would be the number one option, but Topuria is he's just got a bigger frame than Sean O'Malley. I think that what you just said about Topuria going up to fight Islam because Islam is too big, you were saying, I think that Sean is going to find that Topuria is too big, in my opinion. I'm not saying it will be a good fight, but I think he's just too skinny.
Sean is pretty big for the division as well, too, and he could bulk up. And he talks about weight cuts being a little tough on him as well, too. I don't want to see Merab versus Ilia right now. It doesn't excite me. It doesn't get me to stop the microwave. And I don't want to see Sean O'Malley versus Merab either. I mean, Merab is a boring fighter. Why not match them both up, O'Malley and Ilia, and call it a day? That's a massive fight.
So you want O'Malley to come, but you think that Marlon Vera is going to beat him, though, right?
I do. I'm saying hypothetically if O'Malley beats Vera. But yes, I do believe Cheeto's going to get the job done. And you could still let O'Malley go up in weight if he doesn't get destroyed.
But my thing is, okay, if you think Cheeto is going to beat him, you think he's going to what? He's going to wrestle him or something? To catch him?
I think over a 5-round fight where O'Malley he's going to wear on him, and then he already beat him once. I think confidence level-wise, that helps as well, too. I think some leg kicks are going to play a factor. I think he's going to be able to close the distance. He's not the best wrestler, but maybe out of the clinch he could get some work done. I think he could just wear on Sean O'Malley.
So I know MMA math doesn't always work. I get it.
Right.
But if you think Marlon Vera can wear on O'Malley, you don't think Topuria is going to go in there and knock his head off?
Topuria's not. I mean, he is pretty defensively sound too. But Volkanovski landed a bunch of knees as well too against Topuria. And just imagine, I think Topuria maybe is a little easier to hit than it is to hit Chito Vera. I'll say that. So he could catch him.
You think Topuria's easier to hit than Chito Vera?
Yes, just because Vera is he doesn't have as much output as Topuria, and he's very defensively sound. Not that Topuria isn't, but Chito Vera makes it a task of his to really not get hit. He's very good defensively.
I understand.
But Topuria's offense is way better. I think.
Yeah, what I saw from Topuria from hey, what's going on, Wayne? You all right? Good. So I gotta go say what's up to you. Everything good?
Oh yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, you too. Sorry about that, man. I got people that
Trey. Nobody has ever said hi to Trey in public, so I get it. You got things to do. It's understandable.
No, but what I was saying is that I am 100% sure that Topuria is the best MMA fighter I've ever seen.
This guy's going crazy. Yeah, or after this one win?
No,
and I'm a Topuria fan. I'm just saying.
I'm telling you, no. Like I said, I didn't. very rarely do I go back and analyze like fight after fight after fight, and I just did it this past Saturday morning. I watched his last 3 or 4 fights, and I'm telling you, this man is the best MMA fighter I have ever seen.
That's a heavy claim.
It is a heavy claim. There's no one that's gonna beat him. He has to go up. His hands are. Let me put it this way. I have never seen hands that fast at featherweight. Not even McGregor. No, not McGregor.
There's no one in his division that beats him right now.
No, I'm talking about ever. Who else?
Then Ilya at featherweight ever? Like any featherweight of all? Like,
yes, ever.
Aldo would have beat him in his prime.
No, absolute. In hand speed?
Aldo would have beat him in his prime with the leg kicks. Oh, Aldo's power.
Aldo was in his prime when Conor knocked him out in 14 seconds.
He fought emotional in that fight.
Well, I'm just saying that was his prime. Aldo was in his prime. Conor knocked him out in 14 seconds. Anyway, what I'm saying is that Topuria is a next level fighter. He's next level. There's no one in featherweight that's going to beat him. You're saying that someone's going to come up in weight and beat him? Absolutely not.
No, I just think that's the best fight for them to make for him because there's nobody else in his division. Is probably the most stagnant, the most boring at the very moment. It has been frozen for quite some time since Volkanovski beat like Holloway 3 times. It just hasn't been exciting.
What he needs to do is, if he wants to cement like a Conor McGregor type legacy or something, if he wants to reach legend status, he needs to go up and fight Makhachev and get another belt.
It's just too early, I think, because he has no title defenses. You know, he just got the title. So
you know what's crazy? Conor didn't. Me and Drew looked this up the other day. Conor did not defend his featherweight belt one time.
But to push back to that, I will say when he beat Aldo, it was probably the biggest moment in UFC history. So at that point, he could do whatever he wants. I don't think Ilya has that big enough name. For example, I bet no one questioned when McGregor went up in weight. There's going to be plenty of people that have an issue with Ilya going up after just winning the title. And that's what do you say about that?
Okay, so I know, and I get it. MMA math doesn't always work. I get it. But we saw Islam go up full training camp. And arguably, I thought he beat Islam. That was my opinion. I thought the judges kind of screwed him, or he at least deserved a draw or something.
Oh, Volkanovski when he went up?
Yes. Gotcha. I didn't think that he lost that fight. Okay. To see Volkanovski get absolutely destroyed.
That's
like
very
that.
Conor Aldo-like.
Yes. To see him get absolutely destroyed by Topuria. And then I'm just going off my analyzing and me watching the fights that I saw of Topuria. I'm telling you, his movement, his combos, the ferocity in which he throws his combos at that speed, that's like Gervonta Davis level power and quickness at 145. And you're telling me, and he makes that weight cut. I'm telling you, if he goes up to fight at 155, Makhachev is getting knocked out if he's not careful.
Let me ask you this. All right, so this is what I think you're saying. Is Ilya Topuria the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now?
In the UFC, he is 100% the best pound-for-pound fighter. Not even a question. Not even a question. He's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. Not even a question. Oof. I would still go number one. I would go number one, Gervonta Davis, number one.
Oh, first fighter. If we're talking about just UFC, if we're talking just UFC.
UFC, 1,000% he's number one. In the world, it's probably like Gervonta, Canelo, Bivol, and like him, probably Topuria.
You know what? Pound for pound is kind of wild as far as to put Ilya up there right now. Volkanovski is going to go down after that loss. The only people above Volkanovski after I guess it gets updated is going to be Leon Edwards, John Jones, Makhachev. I do think Makhachev is better. I think John Jones is probably at the tail end of his career. I don't know if he's better than Leon Edwards pound for pound right now.
in the UFC,
Mm-hmm.
Miller, come on, man, stop. I know you have to like perpetuate that, that narrative or whatever, but I mean, fighting, like you saw what happened.
I'm not saying the most exciting. I'm just saying the best all around when it comes to winning. I don't know if Ilya's better than Leon Edwards pound for pound right now. I think this is yeah. What do you guys think in chat? Let us know. But I feel pretty strongly, but I think it's too early. What's Ilya's best win? His best win is Volkanovski. That's major. That's huge. But he just doesn't have enough on the resume. Leon has Usman, who's pound for pound one of the best, if not the best welterweight of all time, and he beat him twice, and he beat Kobe.
Okay, wait, hold on. But he was losing that whole fight.
Doesn't matter.
He dominated.
He dominated him the third time.
It matters how you win. You can't. We get it. He won. That was one of the most, if not the most exciting ending UFC fights. Maybe Anderson Silva, Chael Sonnen, something like that. Like just absolutely crazy ending to a fight that I've ever seen. But he was losing that entire fight. I mean, come on, he was, and he was losing badly.
Doesn't
matter. His coach was getting on him. Come on, rookie. Yeah. What are you doing?
Doesn't matter. He got the job done.
No, I get it. He got the job done, but we're talking about pound for pound. That's like that we're talking about not just winning. We're talking about how are you winning? Are you starching your opponents or are you getting decision wins?
That's coming off beating an Usman that never lost as compared to a Volkanovski that just got knocked out.
I get it. It's between him and Makhachev. I get it. If you want to make the argument that Makhachev is number one in the UFC, I can concede that. But okay. I don't agree with that. But right. I can see why you said that. But 1,000%, you've never seen somebody besides Conor McGregor. I'm literally thinking. I'm trying to think of the knockout artists with nice hands who have had good all around. I'm trying to think. Besides Conor, him, we all thought Fiziev was gonna be like that at 155.
Yeah,
that's we thought that, and some people think that he won against Gaethje. So
it was close. It could have been 2-1 Fiziev. It could have been 2-1 Fiziev.
Yeah, some people think he won against Gaethje. So I think Fiziev, if you wanna, I wouldn't count him out. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's got that same level of, not the same level of Topuria, but just that crisp stand-up game that anything could happen. He can knock out anybody. But Topuria, oh my gosh, he has freak power too. That's the thing. He's got freak level power.
Joe is a big Ilya believer. Listen,
yes.
I'm gonna have to dwell on that because you're basically saying he's pound for pound the best fighter in the world right now over Makhachev. Yes. So something I got to think about, and I'll think about it some more. Just because I got a voicemail to play. Any last and final thoughts? We will be back at 7 p.m. So I'm gonna need you to bug Trey about his Volkanovski being the face pick. So we're gonna talk about that later as well too. But any last thoughts on Topuria, UFC 298, Cejudo? It could be anything.
Yeah, 298. Oh yeah, the Cejudo fight. I had Cejudo winning too. That hurt. Just looked. Oh yeah, that hurt. He's not there anymore. He's just older. He just, that's it. He's done.
37 years old.
Yeah, he's done. He gave everything he had, and he's good now. I think he can retire in peace, knowing that he gave it all, and he lost to one of the best dudes in the division. Didn't get pummeled. It wasn't like he got killed or anything, but he stood his ground. But yeah, it was a close fight, but he definitely lost. Also, I had one lock of the entire night, and I was telling Trey and Drew, like I said, Saturday morning, I was watching every single fighter on the card, and I was watching every single fight, and I had one lock the whole night. I said, stamp it, lock it, he's going to win, bet your mortgage on it, mortgage your house, and put it on him, he's going to win. And that was Anthony Hernandez. I went into the fight, I said, Anthony Hernandez is the lock of the night. He's gonna beat Roman, and I really like the way he fights. I think he's great. So I watch out for Anthony Hernandez. I love him.
He might be the future, man. Thank you so much, Joe DeJesus, the man, the myth, the legend. Appreciate the call, bro.
Miller, thank you. Appreciate it.
Much love. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. What a call. I mean, Joe had plenty of airtime and justifiably so. We got another voicemail. Let's get right to it. Firstly, quickly, let me say what's up, Teron Brown, and what's up, Alleyway Addict, man. All the OGs coming through. Welcome to the stream. Boxing is the best. Patty versus we started with boxing Alleyway, as crazy as it sounds. He says Patty versus Ilya. Yeah, exactly. Laughable, right? Miller's Leon Edwards sense are going off when Joe said Topuria is the best MMA fight. Yeah, look, we got to pump the brakes a bit. Leon is pound for pound up there. Number 2, if not 1. Let's just be honest. Ilya versus Gaethje is a crazy fight as well, too. What's up, Tehran? Wait, there's still Aljo in that division. Ilya Aljo? Aljo beats Calvin Kattar, hypothetically, right? Let's say he dogs him, submits him in the first round, kind of like what he did to Corey Sandhagen. And you give Sterling the shot against Ilya. Who mentioned this? Hold on a second. Ilya was Aljo's Ilya. Wait, was it Beta? Wait, there's still Aljo in the division. That could be a big fight. Ilya was a lightweight at one point. He's fought at 155 before. Ilya is dependent on Aljo beating Calvin, though. It'd be a great fight. Aljo Ilya, how do you guys feel about that? That might be a next video or short to make. It could go something like Ilya just won the title at the featherweight division, but there's really no contenders that could face him. But I just thought of one thing by myself without the help of Beta or Hollywood. But I just thought, what about Aljo if he beats Calvin Kattar at 145? If Aljo blows through Calvin Kattar and if he just dominates him, kind of like how he did to Corey Sandhagen, why not make that fight? Aljo, Ilya at 145, I think that'll get the interest of the fans because there's really no one else out there. Holloway's not exciting. Josh Emmett has already been beaten. Volkanovski, we don't want to see the rematch. Yo, that's the fight to make. Thank you, Beta, for bringing that up, man. Genius of you. Let's get to the next voicemail.
This is my last thing. John Jones, he won the heavyweight championship at 35 years old, defeating Gane, before reaching the 36 in the summer of last year. He's still currently 36. He's about to be 37. And this is...
I just can't help but annoy Hollywood Heath, though. That was actually an excellent pick. I'm not going to lie. If Aljo blows past, if he dominates Calvin Kattar, why not Aljo and Ilya at 145? I would like to see it.
A message to my rival, Shrek Milton. You can be a fan of John Jones right now, but I have a vision that you're going to shit on your pants when he loses the first time. As one person from The Walking Dead, Negan, says, I hope you have shitting pants on, because you are about to shit on your pants. And I hope you can talk about that topic in your video. Is John Jones the next one to fall?
Volkanovski has fallen. Usman has fallen. Adesanya has fallen. Will it be John Jones, the next star, the next veteran that loses his title? That's a good question. That's a good title idea. So thank you for that one, Chris. I'm giving the credit to Beta just to be annoying. Wow, this guy can't read chat, Beta. Holloway versus Topuria wouldn't be bad, says Tehran Brown. The problem is Holloway got Gaethje next, unless that fight falls through somehow.
Because the veteran curse is...
Alleyway says, I had a feeling Ilya was going to win, but that power he did it with, I don't know how other fighters tanked that. Listen, that guy's special, man. I only saw it coming because his previous fights, the boxing, I thought he would eventually close the range against Volkanovski, and he did. That guy's special.
Absolutely real, MillerDC. It's absolutely, I didn't acknowledge it now. I finally acknowledge that the veteran curse is real. And just
he says he finally acknowledges that the veteran curse is real. Listen, John Jones might be the next one.
Understand, John Jones is no longer in his prime. He will fall, whether the people like it or not. And I will see his downfall with my very own eyes. That is the people's champion's greatest prediction, everybody.
If he even goes in there and fights someone competitive, because it seems he doesn't want the Aspinall fight, and the only fight that he's willing to take is the Stipe fight, which I think again is one of those fights that nobody cares about besides maybe like a 54-year-old MMA fan, UFC fan. Nobody wants Stipe versus John Jones. They want to see the best fight the best. That would be John Jones versus Tom Aspinall for the heavyweight title. Aspinall won the interim. Give him the shot. It just doesn't seem like John Jones is interesting. Gary and Neal was a big disappointment. Very boring fight. Very, very boring fight. What a day, guys. This freaking last hour and 15 or so just flew by. I mean, thank you guys. If you guys have anything else that you guys want to cover immediately right now, let me know. But we will be back live at 7 p.m. with another live stream with Trey Melton. We do have a live caller, so let's answer it. Here we go. Yo, Chris, welcome to the stream.
Yeah, what's up? You know, there's something else I forgot to mention. This upcoming Saturday, besides the UFC fight in Mexico, it's PFL versus Bellator. Oh, I'm not going to lie. I know people are like, oh, I got to see PFL. Well, I guarantee Mexico for UFC is not going to be all that big like PFL versus Bellator in Saudi Arabia.
You think it'll be massive?
It will be massive. You have the champions from Bellator versus the champions of PFL. And not to mention, you know, there was one fight that was supposed to happen 2 days ago, and it didn't happen. That fat Santa Claus-looking piece of shit called Tyson Fury. He should have fought, and he should have lost against Usyk. But that idiot had to get injured. I'm not saying his injury was fake, but I believe he orchestrated his injury to come real.
Yo, that's a card that happens at 3 p.m. on ESPN Plus and The Zone. I think it is pay-per-view, but you have Bader on the card, Yoel Romero, AJ McKee, Vadim Nemkov, which is pretty solid. We might have to cover that card. Claressa Shields fighting in the preliminary card as well, too?
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of all that. And also, there was someone else that was supposed to fight. Pitbull versus Jesus, but Jesus got dropped out. I was like, oh, what the hell? It was on the same night with Topuria B. Volkanovski. I was like, ah, damn. Oh, somebody else was supposed to fight this past Saturday, but got injured before Tatiana Suarez. I was like, damn it. Yeah, why?
It's part of the game. Fighters always falling out. No, but that might be something we cover live. I'll keep that in the back of my mind, and we might cover that. One real quick thing before, because we have I don't have too much more time to stay on real quick, but
it's okay.
Let's talk about Topuria and Volkanovski just a bit more, just to hear your thoughts on the overall performance of Topuria, if you don't mind. UFC 298. Just because I'm asking everybody else, but what would you like to see next if you had to pick?
Let's see. I don't mind if it's him versus Holloway if he wins or loses, or Volkanovski rematch. I know people are saying, "Oh, Volkanovski doesn't deserve," but guess what? He beat Max Holloway 3 times, so you're not going to give credit to the guy who beat Max Holloway 3 times to get the rematch. No, give him the credit. But I'm not saying like summer. It could be like later this fall when he fully recovers.
Okay. So you're saying put it off on the shelf for a bit. And another question for you as well, too, the Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira fight. How do you feel about it?
I give it a 3.5 out of 10. I don't like it that much.
Wow. That's a pretty low rating. Can you explain why?
Honestly, I have a feeling, and people may think I'm changing sides. I may not like Pereira. I respect him, but I think he wins by a second-round knockout.
You think Pereira wins?
Yeah.
Wow. Listen, this might sound crazy. I haven't told anybody this, but you brought it out live for all of us, the People's Champ. I might go Jamal Hill in that fight.
You want to know why I'm picking Pereira? Because recently there was damn, I forgot to post it on the group chat thing on Discord. Mm-hmm. He was training with the actor, the master, a.k.a. Steven Seagal, recently.
Yeah, you think that does it, huh?
Well, Steven Seagal never fought in the UFC, and I'm not a big fan of him, despite he's Putin's lapdog now.
Right. But you think he gets a job? Listen, Jamal Hill has, he did beat Heary, speaking of Pereira, so it's a tough fight. I just think Jamal Hill has the hand speed. He got to stay away from the leg kicks, and the longer the fight goes, I think the more is dangerous for him. Pereira could very well knock him out early, but I might go Jamal Hill.
In what round?
I would say a decision.
But if he beats Jamal Hill, guess what? That's strike 3, meaning he took down 3 former champions, Blachowicz, Prohaska, and Hill.
That would be incredible. Actually, I might have to go Hill knockout, because if Pereira's in there for 5 rounds and he gets a bunch of leg kicks, that could hurt Hill. So I got to think about that one some more. But You're picking Pereira, right?
Oh yes, I am.
No, that's
Even though I might
understood.
not like it, but Jones should have
Mhm.
been the event. His dumbass fumbled the bag.
I would have loved to see that happen. It doesn't seem like it's going to at all, or we're gonna get him back anytime soon. But I gotta get out of here. Be back at 7 p.m. and call in.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
There
Peace
you-
out.
The People's Champ. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The People's Champ, Chris Faith. I gotta get out of here. Thank you for a fun show. It was like an hour 15, hour 30 long. Let me see. Actually, I started a bit late. Hour 15 long. Call me crazy, but Robert Whitaker and Costa was best fight on the 298 card. If you don't count Ilia Topuria, but as far as a back and forth competitive fight, I would agree with you. Very competitive, good fight. Let's talk about that young prospect, Danny Barlow at 170. It got a little bit iffy for him early in the fight, but that guy's a dog. You're a bum for that, Miller. Really, Hill? Yeah, I got Jay Hill by KO. Listen, I think Hill can catch him, man. I'm not even joking. Jamal Hill, hate him or love him. He looked great against Glover. He stopped all the takedowns, so Glover couldn't take the fight to the ground. Not that Alex Pereira is going to try to do that, but Alex Pereira doesn't have the most exhilarating or impressive hand speed. Hill does have great hand speed, has a good chin. Pereira has been hurt before, has been knocked out before. This is Hill's division that he's most comfortable and been at for some time. Not that Pereira isn't comfortable at 185. I really think Hill could get the job done, as crazy as that might sound. I might leave on that note, but yeah. I think Hill could get the win. We will be back at 7 p.m. Eastern. We had great viewership today, guys. A bunch of people in here hanging out. #1 commentary channel on YouTube, Alleyway. Thank you for coming through. Hito, Beta, Tehran, Mike Dornan. Let me see if I'm Joe De Jesus with the long call, and he had some great points. Rick Grimes, Zelmay, Richie Bennett, all the OGs. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new here, thank you so much for being here. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. We'll be back at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure you're here for that. #1